I don't know what episode is this, 14?
Oh, that's coincidence. 14 is the
14-day detox. Is it?
13?
No, I think last one was 13.
8 times.
What's 14 now? We just said it.
No, we did 4 on our first one.
Oh, yes.
So 14, yeah, we just said it is, we've manifested it.
Yeah.
14 days of caffeine detox. Today's one is all about the 14-day caffeine detox that we are running right now. Doesn't mean you can't start it right now as well.
You can do it anytime. I suppose the biggest thing is, why would we do a 14-day detox? Why would people give up coffee?
It's a silly reason. Please don't. No, I mean, I'm kidding. No, there is a lot of good stuff around, obviously, all the benefits of coffee. One thing that Michael said quite well the other day when I was down in the dumps and I was wishing I had a Monster in my hand was that most studies that come out about the benefits of caffeine are directly funded by coffee companies or caffeine companies like Monster.
It's a $1 billion industry, so we have to accept the fact that it is very socially accepted for us to be like, hey, let's go eat shitty food. We need to now pick up our energy levels. Let's go get a coffee or something with caffeine. If you look at Coke, when they initially came out, they had caffeine in it because they knew it made people addicted.
Yeah.
Like, it is a strategy used by a lot of companies. So of course we're going to have a feedback loop that's positive around it, where it's like, you should have coffee. It's not really going to have any negatives, and it's not spoken about as commonly.
No.
But we know that there is. Everyone knows that there's a negative to it. The dependency, all right, the effect on your bank account.
That's a big one too.
But yeah, most investors will say invest $5 a day, and they always refer it back to coffee. They're like, just give up one coffee a day. It's $35 a week, and there's pretty much going to be your retirement if you start by the time you're 18.
Yeah, and that's it. And like, even on the other side of it too, like I've heard studies that say 3 to 4 cups of coffee have profound health benefits of reducing blood pressure, improving mood, like increasing energy output, increasing focus. Like, obviously you've got that whole fasting crew as well, who somehow justify that the 12 or 2 calories or whatever.
You can still have coffee.
Yeah, because it doesn't have any calories in it, but it does. It has like 2 calories or something.
Yeah.
So, but like there's that whole entire group of people as well. Obviously, it's not restricted to any specific type of food choices too. So whether you're someone who, eats a pescatarian diet, whether you eat a vegetarian diet, whether you have like, carnivore, all that stuff, like it seems that even though like all those different diets have rules, coffee is still added into one or tea as well. I mean, can't just, take away the British. Tea is also part of the caffeinated beverages, which is
all around the world. It's so socially accepted.
And especially in Australia. Like, I feel like Australia is one of the big capitals of coffee, especially like cafe, like made coffee.
We say we have the best coffee in the world. Yeah, we're very bougie with our coffee. So actually, when you go to Melbourne, Queensland's catching up now, but you go to cafes and you talk to a lot of people, you're more like this, I'm less like this.
Yes.
Where it's like, has to be made a certain way, you're after a certain texture and taste and flavor. There's a story behind every coffee you have, which I never seem to run into.
No, and they create coffee so crazy these days. Like, you'll have coffees which have scents of like chocolate, orange, raspberry,
Let a monkey's butt.
That's it. Like, there's so many ways that it comes, so many shapes and forms. And then you've got energy drinks and, like certain like stimulant drinks or stimulant tablets too. You can get like caffeine tablets and things like that. So there's so many ways that the form of caffeine is created and that we can consume it.
And a lot of it's consumed unintentionally.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize that caffeine is in a lot of things that they'll have just in small doses. And a lot of it is based on how do we get people addicted to our product.
Yeah.
So they might have a coffee and they're like, that's all I've had, but then they're drinking Coke or they're drinking other things that have caffeine in them.
Like chocolate. People don't know chocolate. I think like a serving of chocolate has about 12 milligrams of caffeine in it. That's through the cocoa, I believe. I don't think they add caffeine. I think the cocoa naturally
Just naturally in.
which is like, then again, like a point of like, I didn't have a coffee today. I had a hot chocolate. That's awkward because hot chocolate also has caffeine in it. And it's like, and that's the hard thing too. Like, and that's what I told some people who started the challenge. I said like, hey, obviously take away your main caffeinated beverages, like Monsters, or like, coffees or whatever.
Yeah, we're trying to break dependency. So like, I mean, we should probably start with why. Like, why did we actually decide to do it? And the biggest thing for us is you do want to try and break the dependency. So I hate the framework of, if I get up and I have my coffee, then I will have a good day. So my effort is dictated by me having the coffee.
Yeah.
All right. Like I prefer it to be more intrinsic. So if external circumstances change, my effort is still high. I still train well. I still turn up. I'm still reliable versus I have to have my monster or I can't function, or I have to have these days 5 monsters or I can't function.
Yeah. And there's like some scary stories behind it too. Like when I was in the military, one of my sergeants, he used to be a massive consumer of caffeine. Like I remember he used to bring this like plastic bag into work and it would have 6 energy drinks in it. And that's for the day. That's not for the week, that's for the day. And sadly, like I will not mention his name, but he ended up dying in a surgery at 31 due to a heart condition, which wasn't relevant to like any genetic disorder, which a lot of us assumed it came from the extensive amount of caffeine this man consumed, which is unreal. Like six energy drinks, and like that's like 160 milligrams per one. Like that's a lot of caffeine. So for any individual to have that daily, like that's going to be obviously a great risk to their health. Some of the other negative side effects, obviously, for a lot of people is the impact it has on their sleep. Now, something I mentioned in our full video for our caffeine detox, which is on our YouTube channel, which I covered like what the challenge is, how long it runs for, why we do it, in a bit more detail. The main thing I point out is a lot of people, and we have parents and grandparents that are quite like this, that 7 p.m. at night, they start making themselves a coffee.
Yeah.
And I've always quizzed them on this. I've been like, why are you having a coffee so late? Oh, I can still go to sleep fine with it. And I'm like, and that's what, when Michael and I were talking about this is our second time doing the caffeine detox as well, that like those people don't know any different. So their sleep has been the same for 30, 40 years because they have no idea what it feels like to actually have deep sleep or REM sleep because they're always caffeinated. And even to an extent, like their body may be even so good at removing caffeine from its system that the caffeine just has no benefit at all to them. It's almost just like negated.
Yeah, and it also has a depreciating effect. So it's like the more you drink caffeine, the more you need to have the original effect. So like your dose has to go up over time. So there is going to be a point where, like we said, you probably just want to reset that tolerance.
Yeah.
And that's where the 14 days come from. So 14 days is all you need, right? If you kind of go cold turkey and you cut most of your caffeine to reset your tolerances, so that when you do bring it back in, you're not over consuming. So it's not that we do it to be like, hey, caffeine's not meant to be part of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's so that you can have a trade-off and have, as in like, I have my coffee, but my trade-offs aren't going to be huge in terms of health metrics.
Yeah.
So it's not going to affect my sleep. It's not going to mess my appetite up. It's not going to mess with my hormones. And so when we start getting to that consistent intake of 250 plus milligrams a day, then that's where we're more likely to have those effects.
Yeah, and that's where like the first time I went through it, that was one of the reasons why, was mainly around the sleep. One of the other impacts that caffeine has on a lot of people that they don't realize is it increases anxiety through like increasing cortisol. And that mainly happens due to A, the lack of sleep that you potentially get from having caffeine too late in the day, and then B, like you said, the reliance and dependency on it. So then you start consuming more and more, and obviously the jitters, the increased heart rate, the crash, like all that stuff that everyone knows about that happens with coffee is still prominent. Now, something that's simple tip, something that this is obviously not 100% accurate, but they say that the range for coffee and how long it lasts in your system at about 100% is about 2 to 3 hours. So like 100% potency, let's say you have 100 milligrams of caffeine, you have 100 milligrams of caffeine in your system for about 2 to 3 hours. After that, it's about 50% potency for then the next 6 hours. So you've got like a 9-hour lifespan of coffee or caffeine.
Yeah.
If you're consuming it, 2 to 3 hours before bed, even through like pre-workouts and things like that, like no wonder why it's so challenging for you to get to sleep. So for me, that's why I was really big on a couple of set rules when I did come back into coffee, where it was like no caffeine after 12, avoid things like chocolate, Pepsi Max, Coke Zero after that time period as well, because they still contain those small traces. And that can affect sleep. That can help, that can reduce your ability to fall asleep quickly, and it also can reduce the quality of your sleep as well.
Oh, massively. And I think like sleep is one that people know, so it's a known negative. It's not uncommon for people to have 3 to 4 coffees a day. It's not uncommon for people to have 2 to 3 monsters a day. So you think about it, 90% of their day, they probably have caffeine in their system.
Yeah.
They're not really getting much time to kind of just chill out. You combine that with the effects of social media, course, anxiety is going to be through the roof.
Yeah.
I did make a list, so I will post it for you guys in the comments if anyone's curious. But I just rated the 10 main things that most people will just need to pay attention to. The biggest one being sleep, so it disrupts sleep quality. The dependency loop is the second one. So how we talked about, like, our effort is now directly correlated to us getting this thing first. So we have to have a reward initially before we actually do any work versus let me do the work and reward myself after. It amplifies anxiety and jitters, which is what you were talking about. You've got increased heart rate and blood pressure. So the main thing for me, this is one of my reasons that mine's number 2, which is the dependency loop, and then the increase in heart rate and blood pressure. So my heart rate and blood pressure is a little bit higher at the moment. So I've taken the caffeine out to help bring it back down.
Yes.
The other one is it'll mess with your appetite and your blood sugar levels, especially when you're consuming, like we said, consistently above that 250 milligrams a day. It'll impact your mood and your mental clarity long term. And then you've got, like, it acts as a diuretic, all right? So you are going to be more likely dehydrated when you're training, those kind of things. Then you've got number 8, your tolerance builds quickly, which is what we were touching on. So the 14 days is to help us reset the tolerance so that we can get most of the benefits without the negative. And then you've got number 9, which is your fatigue instead of fixing it. As in it masks your fatigue, it doesn't actually fix it. So if you needed to downregulate, recover, have a chill day, but you're having the caffeine, it's not allowing you to get all the benefits of having that slower day. And then the last one is going to be your hormone disruption.
Yeah, I'd say probably number 9 is a good point behind that. Something that Andrew Huberman talks a lot about, which is the release of adenosine, which is a chemical that is the opposite to melatonin, something that helps wake your body up in the morning. He says stuff like, get your, skin, face, eyes, in the light of sun to help wake you up and release that adenosine, and avoid caffeine for the first 90 minutes of the day, because what happens is that it ends up, caffeine actually blocks the release of adenosine, which then obviously reduces your body's ability to have that wake up time, pushing that window a little bit longer. And then what ends up happening is where we get that 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon crash. And that generally happens due to the fact that we are blocking that natural chemical. It works obviously the other way around too. The closer you have caffeine towards the end of the day, you're blocking that that increased amount of melatonin that we naturally release, which is also having another detrimental impact. So, but that doesn't mean like all this stuff. It doesn't mean that coffee is bad or caffeine is bad. It just means that, like anything, and I feel like a lot of people, and this is brutally honest for me, a lot of people don't understand that coffee is actually a drug. Like, caffeine is a drug. It's just legal and easy to obtain, and the side effects aren't crazy.
Just do the 14-day detox and you'll feel like an addict.
That's it. And it's withdrawals. First 3 days are withdrawals. And we've got a few people on the caffeine challenge right now. And some of them reached out to me on Messenger from this morning's update that I posted, and they were saying that they're already seeing the positive outcomes of it. They're waking up and not feeling reliant on it, and they're finding that, even myself personally, that they have to rely more on food for energy rather than using the caffeine as energy. So I've got actually,
which is what we were talking about with the effects of your hunger. That doesn't mean it doesn't make you hungry.
No,
it means you're probably going to eat when you shouldn't be eating, and then the natural timing or body clock will be disrupted.
That's it.
So easy to overconsume. Your body might not necessarily tell you when you're full, and then you get the overconsumption of calories.
Yeah, and that's why even in my bowl right now, and that's what I use for my pre-workout during this time period, is just coconut water. And that's not because coconut water has anything revolutionary in it. It's just like a carbohydrate.
I've got protein water because there's Fanta orange.
Fanta orange, there you go. But these are like little things that I've used, and they're not a replacement, but they're just something that I can go to, like, oh, I'm feeling a little bit flat. Maybe I'll have an orange juice, or, some coconut water, or I've got these little veggie chip packets that I have as well. And they're like good for me to have like that replacement for that need to have that fake energy from coffee.
And they're hydrating sources, like they're not a diuretic, so they're not going to make you piss out of your fluid.
No, and that's actually a point. The other one, the diuretic point. They say 29% of people after consuming caffeine will have a diuretic effect. So 29% of people, so that's 1 in 3 people, I'm definitely included in that one. Where
Makes me piss all day.
well, within 4 minutes, I'll have to go do a poo straight away. Like there's 3 things in this world that make me poo more than anything. One is oats. For whatever reason, I have oats twice a day. I think I poo like 5 times a day, and it's like solid. That's too much information. Izzy's cringing. It's like solid. Like, this is like
Solid stool.
Yeah, I
You can actually make good money off your stools.
there you go. The second is coffee, and then I forget what the third is. There was 3. Oh, the calf raise machine. So anytime I'm on a calf raise machine, I don't know what it does, but I have to go poo straight
Maybe
away.
have blood to extremities.
But like I feel like I'm the only one.
Yeah.
Do a few calf raises, go to the toilet. It's like between sets. But no, I think overall the 14-day detox, it can be done from anywhere for anyone. Not only will it save you a little bit of money over the 14 days because you won't be spending excess money on coffees and monsters and all sorts of beverages, but what it will do is allow you to, as the main goal, reset your tolerance to caffeine. So when you come back into it, that first drink is ever so strong and ever so tasty.
And the biggest thing coming back from it, I know the first time I did, I was almost worse on the other side of it. When I came back, it was like I wanted to make up for lost time.
Finally, like
As with this time for me, like the second effort is more about the only time I'm really going to consume it is the social events where like T and I have a slow morning and we want to go have a coffee and things like that. But it's not going to be in the pre-workouts anymore or drinking just a coach at 5 a.m.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like for me, I went 5 months last time without caffeine. I remember you remember that where I had the solo no sugars everywhere and like all the coping mechanisms. And for me, when I went back to that first competition and I had a monster, I didn't actually get any effect at all. I felt like it was like I took a sip and I was like, I don't really like this anymore, and I put it down. Took a few months later to convince myself to have a few more. And I was like, yes, give me monsters. But initially, that first taste was just like, oh, okay, I wasn't really missing out on much. But
No.
But I'm obviously back in the same position again, so I'm resetting my tolerance again. But that's just honest, open opinion. So if you guys want to check that one out, there will be a link in the bottom of this video, but there is links everywhere for our 14-day caffeine detox. That'll cover off us for episode 14, the caffeine detox. See you episode.
That also means we got plenty of time for a new addiction. So if there's any you could recommend, chuck them in the comments.
That's it. Phone, you should like get those like little brick phone things to stop your phone from scrolling. Like you can't go on like certain apps with it.
Yeah.
That'll be like, everyone will be like, get one of those. And I'll be like, shit, I can't post it.
Productivity apps.
Yeah. Anyway, see you on the next podcast.